Vince. Hey. And with the
Well,
I think we've got everybody here that's probably going to show up, and I would say we have a quorum. So
We've got Ben online, Judy online, Dave here, and Mary here.
so that should be a quorum. All right. Hi, Judy. All right, so I'll bring the meeting to order. And we need a motion on acceptance of the agenda for today's meeting.
So moved.
second,
All in favor? All right.
Aye.
Moving on. Approval of the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to read over the minutes that Charlie sent out?
Charlie, yes. I'll move approval.
Okay. Second?
second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, let's move on. I don't think we have any public comment. Vince Murphy's here with us, but we'll do that under new business. Let's get take care of the old business first. Any updates with Drew as far as?
Yeah, so I resubmitted with him the request for legal counsel.
Okay.
He's forwarded that on to Libby. She sent an email back asking me for some clarification for the differences.
Okay.
And I believe it's with her now, so hopefully we'll hear shortly.
Okay.
That's progressing.
Good. Any updates on the tree hearing?
I believe that's going to be May 1st. It's just
Okay.
that there's a 2 week period here where there's no select board.
Okay.
So I believe it's going to be on the May 1st.
I think the tree committee should probably, if we can, all attend it.
If we're all attending, we need to post a meeting the same as we're all attending.
Okay, all right, good to know.
Yeah, I'll double check. I think if you're all there to speak on it but not make a decision, it's
We'll be, I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll be.
it's
it's better to post it, yeah.
Probably easier to post. So
Yeah.
we're gonna do that.
Judy, are you gonna be here for that? Nope.
I won't be here, unfortunately, and I just turned off my video there. No, I won't. I'll be up for a while, but I'm leaving the 29th, and then I'll be back in the end of May.
Now, well, that's a public meeting, so
You can attend virtually on
You can-
Zoom.
Yeah, you gotta tell
Oh,
them.
yeah. Oh, okay.
all right. Well, that takes care of that. Let's get to the main agenda with Vince Murphy from Natural Resources, his proposal for the trees in Nantucket. Vince, it's your.
Well, thank you. So I'm very sorry I can't be there in person, but I'm somewhere about 2,916 miles, legitimately, I just measured it, to the east over in Ireland. So I'm back in my hometown, just having a little bit of time over here with one of my kids, given that it's a vacation week for him from school. So I have to explain the background and history of how I got to where I am and where I am with this. I appreciate that the agenda says a presentation. I had intended on this being more of a discussion, and hopefully, if that's okay with you and the committee, I'll proceed under that. That is just a general discussion, and I am looking for feedback here today, if that's okay.
Yep.
So I'm an ecologist by training. I'm a wildlife guy. This is kind of stuff that I just like to do and talk about. But how I ended up seeing this and come about and looking for the idea of doing a grant application, which is what I'm preparing and drafting now at the moment, is kind of interesting. One of the things that I'm the sustainability programs manager for the town within the Natural Resources Department. And one of the things that I was asked to do was look at all of the sustainability efforts that the town undertakes. And I made a huge list across all departments, everything from the Natural Resources Department, DPW, plus airport, town admin, and I listed out every one of the sustainability related projects, programs, and initiatives that the town undertakes. And the reason to do that was kind of simple, to understand what we're not doing, what we're missing. And so I then looked at a lot of other municipalities around the state to understand what other places do And a couple of things came up. We don't have a climate action plan. That was kind of a key one that we knew about that we needed to get on with. Another one is the reason why I'm here tonight is we don't have a tree plan. And I'm just going to use that broad term for a second, a tree plan. And I understand entirely that that is a lot of the work that this committee does. So then let's change gears. Usually in the fall into winter, we start planning out what we might look at in terms of grant applications for, say, state applications like CZM for the Office of Coastal Zone Management, or for the MVP, Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program. It's a state grant system. And I chat to the local regional coordinator to explain where we are with certain things. We have little discussions. I pitch a couple of ideas and projects, some of which were developed through the MVP public document that was done, where people went to the Nantucket Hotel, put stickers under projects on the walls, and we've done a lot of those projects. Other projects are less fundable and less ideal that were publicly supported, but it is what it is. And in the fall, when I started this conversation with MVP about what we might take up as a grant application, I pitched a few things to see what they might like. And the idea of doing a town tree plan in 2 parts was very appealing. So it was kind of this idea that was on the back burner for a little while. And then when we came to, the MVP announced their rules about 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. And I started looking at the plans that MVP were looking at positively on, the ideas that MVP were looking positively on, and trying to match it up with what the town needed. And in discussion with other town staff, we landed on this as an idea. And I'm going to pitch it now. It is 2 parts. One is for the downtown and Sconset trees. And I see my friend Dale there. Hi Dale, how you doing, buddy? So he knows these trees way better than I ever will. And the way that I tend to look at this is that there's a lot of trees that are about the same age that are pretty mature and will need some succession planning into the future. And when I talked to MVP about this, they quite liked this a lot. They wanted to maintain the shade trees in the downtown area. Even if, for the sake of argument, the worst came to the worst and Dutch elm ever did kick off here, that would have a detrimental effect, those kind of things. But more real just succession planning so that we can maintain our canopy in the downtown area and in Sconset, of course. Then the second part is what they truly loved. And we had a discussion about, and the idea got partly developed in a discussion with the MVP regional coordinator, a lady called Courtney Rocha. She looks after the Cape and Islands area for the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program. And when we discussed it, and I talked about the idea that there's a lot of tree cover in the downtown area, but nothing quite comparable in, say, the Mid-Island area. And in talking about the Mid-Island area, I also told her what she already knew, that most of that area is mapped environmental justice area. When she started talking about that, and it became quite obvious quite quickly that they prefer to help funding in what the state's mapped environmental justice areas, that this would be a project that could get traction and good points, and more points gets you a better chance of funding. We also looked up some other state maps for the heat maps for, say, Summer's Day in some of these mid-island areas, basically everywhere from Stop and Shop south down to the airport and all the kind of mid-island areas, basically. And there's this wonderful intersection of heat island area. I say wonderful for a project idea. It's a poor thing for the people living in the area, frankly, and we have a way here potentially of resolving this, of planting trees that will develop over time to become canopy trees within an environmental justice area and within areas with known high heat problems. And the benefits will be obvious to you guys as the Tree Advisory Committee. And from my point of view, there's a number of additional co-benefits. Once you shade a tree, you know the story. Once a tree shades a house, you need less energy to cool the house in summer. So there's a real economic benefit for all the people in an area who get shade trees. And I imagine, and this is kind of one of the pieces of guidance I'd like from you, is that this could be done through something like the tree projects in the downtown in the past, where some trees were put on private property under agreements with the property owner. I've also spoken to Will DeLurba, and he was explaining that when he worked with DCR, that they had a different system of doing this, that it became the tree became the property of the person whose land it was put on, but they had to agree to do a certain amount of watering for, was it 2 or 3 years or something, and other maintenance. And then there's other rights for DCR to come along and do maintenance on the tree as needed for a brief amount of time. So there's a couple of ways of cutting that cake. And then the obvious parts of, it helps with localized flooding issues through trees doing evapotranspiration and giving off water to the atmosphere. It obviously helps with people's well-being and to have more greenery around them. So there's a lot of real benefits, and the people I was chatting to were excited by this. So I wouldn't mind some guidance from the committee on a couple of different things. First and foremost, frankly, do you see benefit and something useful in this? Second, guidance on how, if we move ahead, that this might work in terms of putting trees on private property so that we can do some maintenance and whatever we need to do up to a point. That's would be useful to know, and I'd appreciate some guidance on that one. And then third, if you're all okay with this, I wouldn't mind if you would agree to give your chair the permission to write a letter of support. Letters of support are invaluable when it comes to grant writing, and having it from the key committee signed by the chair on behalf of the members would be invaluable. I've already been looking at the costs associated with this project, and they're not cheap. And this is why it's a grant. We're looking for a state grant for this. I'm looking at something in the ballpark, and very preliminary at the moment, of about $250,000 to $300,000, roughly speaking. But because it's a grant, and it's a state grant, and they changed their rules this year, it's only a 10% match. The town would only have to find 10%. So if it's $300,000, it would cost the town $30,000, but it doesn't have to be all cash. Staff time can contribute to that match. So if there's $10,000 worth of staff time, you only need to find 20K. And that's something that might be pretty easily doable from town admin point of view, but I'm trying to find a funding source for that. And I am working quite diligently on this. Now, last point, and I will finish with this. The grant application is due Wednesday, the 24th, next Wednesday. It's mostly written. I have been working to get a budget in place, and I'm refining it because I'm trying to understand the tasks that'll be involved. So if everyone likes this, and depending on your good selves, a letter of support would be the biggest ask after my other initial asks. Thank you.
I don't see the problem with a letter. If you could assist us with the proper wording, and I think we'd be glad.
I'm on board.
Yep, I think we're all on board on this.
Yes.
Yep, Ben.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yep. So
Vince, you had me at plant trees.
That's what I was gonna.
Well, thank you. So I would appreciate a little bit of guidance on the other two issues when it comes to writing those parts as to how trees might go on private properties. And I understand there's a couple of different ways to do it. The town's done it one way in the past. DCR has provided me with, sorry, not DCR. I've gotten other advice from a former DCR employee who's now a town employee, Will DeLurba. So what's your choice? What's your preference? What's your advice?
I think if we can get permission to plant trees on town property, we have to go to the homeowner, ask them what they allow us to plant a town tree on their property. I will not be willing to give it up to the homeowner. I would like to always maintain it as a town tree.
Go with the current situation, so like what we're already doing there.
Yes, I would like to stick with the current situation we're dealing with right now.
it's working basically. I mean,
What it does is it creates green space in areas that we don't have green space. By, going knock on the homeowner door saying, this is what we like to do. And the key now learning about how things turn out, placing it in the right spot.
So this is something that I spoke to Will about as well a little bit. He had more or less an index of cards, and he would approach a homeowner, and when he was in his previous job in DCR, look at the location, look at what tree species might be best suited, or pick 2 or 3, present that to the homeowner as the kind of choice of a very short list, not necessarily open. They can pick whatever they want to put it wherever they want.
We
No, that
definitely
can't
can open that door to give them a choice. We can give them an opportunity. We can give them a choice of what we think would work, but we
Yeah.
can't let them broadly choose what they want. I think once we going down that road, I think it's a bumpy road to go down.
Yeah.
Agreed.
A lot of things wouldn't be appropriate.
Yeah.
So,
So
I mean, that's been the case all
Yes.
along, essentially. But we have done a lot of planting in the Mid-Island area, so. And of course, we have a tree hearing coming up, that kind of speaks to what, a situation that has happened because of transfer of property,
Yeah, so,
anyway.
but one of the things I like about this project is that it clearly states that planting trees in the Mid-Island area is of public benefit and something that the town supports. And as Dave mentioned, we have people where we have planted trees as a town in the Mid-Island area, and now they want to remove them. And so it would be great to have this continued narrative of town policy, or is to support planting and maintaining trees, particularly in the Mid-Island area.
Understood. So I kind of see this as an opt-in type thing. People would contact a centralized group. I don't know yet. You guys can advise on that too. Or they could just send an email to a town email address and say, I'd like to have a town tree on my property. And then we kind of take over from there. And the other thing that I want to try and get a gauge on for the grant application is, in my mind, it's not a fully grown massive tree. It's like a 2.5, 3-inch diameter tree that's, not massively expensive, and will be it's more establishable, and will be a shade tree in shorter order. I'm not talking like bare root saplings either here.
Yeah. Well, years ago, I worked for Walter Beinecke, and we had a tree planting giveaway, and the town subsequently has taken over the maintenance of a lot of those trees. And we ran an advertisement in the paper saying it had to be in the public vista. And other than that, that was the only requirement. People applied for the tree, and we went around and okayed the locations, and there's quite a number of them. I think we planted about 800 at that time. So
Yeah.
it was probably even a bigger project than you're talking about right now.
Could be. So there's one question, and I'm averse to hiding things. I just can't stand it. I need to get a few things out and considered if committee can indulge me on this. I don't want to cause extra work for the committee. I also don't want to take the committee's job away. How do you see your role in this? As supervisory, providing oversight on how this program might work, okaying the trees in locations? I don't know, I'm asking, and I will gladly take anything, please.
Well, essentially, we're the tree advisory committee. I mean, the committee was established to advise the head of the DPW and the town as far as, on tree matters. So that's really our assigned job.
I think our biggest role would be to make sure we choose the right tree
And in the right location.
in the right location.
Yes,
I think if we can master them too, I think we can save ourselves a lot of headache down the road. And I'm going low maintenance, low impact.
Black and white, yeah. Now,
And
part
that falls, that falls well into our role as advising, because we can advise as to type and placement of tree, which seems to fit for us.
Wonderful.
part and parcel to all of this too, is we need a map, we need a town tree map. We need to locate everything that we're, proposing to plant eventually and everything that's in the ground already. And, so I guess Will Delurba is gonna, from your department, is going to help with that. And I think that's another component to this, what I think you're proposing, Vince.
Correct.
We gotta know where everything is.
100%, yes.
Yeah, I was gonna just follow up on that, Vince. How you doing? I'm Ben Shampoo. Thanks for being here. Pleasure. Yeah, so a big part of what we're missing right now is the mapping, as Dave says. And Will has started on this. Will started on the project some number of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I think. Maybe you've had some discussions with him, but a lot of what we're facing now is just development pressure and other things. And people want a centralized place to go to see, if they have a town tree, where the town trees are, so on and so forth. So as much as planting new trees is hugely important to our committee here, preserving what we already have and letting people know, particularly architects, real estate people, whomever, where the town trees are, and the town, and the planning board, the building department, everything. What we get asked all the time is, where do we find this? Is it digitized? And we say we're working on it. We've been saying we're working on it for as long as I've been on this committee, which is, I don't know, 4 or 5 years or something. But so we have some traction with Will, but is there a component of this grant that is incorporating this?
Yes, there is, because we do need to know what we have, and an inventory is, from what I understand, and I had a good look at some of the info that Will has. It's not complete. It's very near complete. It's in the kind of, well, I would hate to give it a percentage because I don't know what we're missing, but I'd say it's certainly north of 75%. So what we do have from the previous work that Will did, is all of the downtown area, Sconset, Airport, and I think what we're missing is a lot of the mid-island trees. And it might be just a case of Will and Dale going out with a GPS, spot marking them, grabbing the species info and any other kind of relevant info on each tree, and that would gather most of it. Then whatever consultant would be awarded this project would be able to compile it in a way and have it as a GIS layer that we could put on the town website. On the town GIS mapping layers, and then it's published. It's out there, and it's done.
I think that layer already exists.
It's kind of there. I wouldn't say it's terribly good. It certainly needs what I would call some ground truthing and updating.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, but just as a functioning layer on the town GIS, you can pull up shade trees. It's by no means comprehensive. It's just it exists. So that's great.
There's a shade tree. It is not a town tree. There are trees on that layer that are not town trees. There are town trees that are not on that layer. So that GIS layer would have to be modified to do what we wanted to do. But the most important thing about that is that we publish the data we already have. We can't keep holding back on this data, waiting to get to the 95, 96, 97, 98 percentile. We've got to publish the 75%. Because right now it's not accessible to anybody, and we have it.
Okay. So just before I forget, I just wanted to tell you guys everything about MVP that you might not know, or just a kind of crash course if I can. So that the way that they work is, grant is due by next Wednesday, so I got like 5-6 days to finish this off, polish it up, add the letters of support, and submit it. Then the waiting game goes on in August and September. They usually do awards the last couple of weeks of August, first couple of weeks of September. And then they basically want contracts up and running by the end of September, beginning of October at the latest. Then they want the projects complete by the end of the financial year. So you basically get about maybe 9 months to undertake the work. I've already spoken to a couple of consulting firms just to get ideas on how possible that is, just so that I could work out how it would work in terms of budgeting, so that we could have a deliverable by June 2025, or if it's a 2-year project. Everybody seems to think, well, from the people I've spoken to, that yes, it does look like it's an easily deliverable project within that time frame to June 2025. We wouldn't be seeking a 2-year grant, we'd be seeking a 1-year grant. That's important. There is a lot of reporting involved. Basically, whatever staffer, probably me, would be overseeing the grant does that. I'd have to coordinate with other staff, such as Charlie and whoever else, Dale, whoever else is working on this. I don't know. We'll figure that one out when we get to it. And it's just basic things. What's happening month to month. You guys, if you want to have a role in that too, that is fine. If you don't, that is also fine. But that's just the monthly reporting. And then in the end of it, we have to have a deliverable. And because there's a huge environmental justice portion in this, I should also say there's going to have to be several public meetings. I've also found over the past that facilitating public meetings with a public committee such as this will be beneficial. I'm not trying to cause extra work for you. I'm just hoping that you might be able to help out with some oversight and some assistance. And I don't wish to cause the chair and tree warden any extra burden, but it could, frankly, cause some extra meetings.
You must have heard that I don't have a fondness for going to meetings, but
Dave, if you want to deputize me for that role, I will go ahead.
okay, so deputized. Thank you, Mary. Yeah, I mean, let's it's exciting. Let's get moving forward on this. I mean, this is kind of thing we've been focusing on.
And just for the record, so in the 90s, so now 30 years ago, we did a very similar project as the Tree Advisory Committee, where we got specifically elms and planted them along Pleasant Street and Sparks Avenue and Hooper Farm Road and I don't know, the general Mid-Island area, if you will, for this very reason, because we saw that this was an area that didn't have as many trees as we had downtown or in Sconset, and was growing in population and was hot and needed shade. And, so if that helps in your application to say that we have done this before and we want to do it again, that's great.
Yes, absolutely. Any previous info that you'd be able to provide that I could use, even just a reference to say that this is kind of something we've already had a go at or done in some way in the past, that would be brilliant. And before I forget, this is all sounding extremely positive. I also know through bitter experience, you don't get every grant. So I have to say this is a competitive process. And roughly speaking, I think there's roughly 3 times the amount of grant requests as there are awards. But I've also had a bit of luck at this.
I'm with it. I mean,
okay.
The other thing I wanted to add, Vince, when Will went around getting the coordinates of the trees, he had a DPW summer intern with him. I would hesitate to ask Dale to take his expertise and use it for intern level work. Maybe a committee member can work something in, or
even as part of the grant.
Yeah.
Getting an intern or a temporary tech to help out with
All
the
possibilities. So the way that it typically works is we get consultants to do most of the heavy lifting so that they can develop the plan. And they're the ones that could literally get the intern or the kind of tech to go out and do the kind of grunt work to walk around and figure these things out. If Dale was able to just go along and put like a tag on a bunch of trees in about 5 streets at a go, take him maybe in half an hour or whatever, and then the intern person or the tech just goes down and then does the grunt work of collecting the information, collecting the GPS point, doing a quick assessment of the tree, understanding its position. Is it giving shade? Is it having a problem with overhead power lines or any overhead wires? All of this kind of stuff that you have to collect as well. Then that's the kind of stuff that they would do. So we would have people for this, usually a consultant or would have plenty staff to do that kind of thing.
But is there a public education component to this, or would, if there isn't, would adding one be helpful? To help people understand how to take care of trees and what the benefits of trees are.
I'd have no problem adding that. So one of the other goals in this, and I'm sorry, there's many aspects and I can't remember everything quite quickly enough sometimes, is in what I like to talk about more than anything these days, environmental leadership. So when I looked at the amount of other municipalities that had tree plans and were looking after this kind of stuff, there were a handful of examples, just a handful, not many. So if we got a very good quality tree plan, and I'm looking to places like Revere and Chelsea as the places that I'm kind of trying to build on, they just planted trees and they didn't do much of the environmental justice stuff at all. Now they had an environmental justice component, but that wasn't much of a tagline at the time. We will be making that into a significant component. And if we could bring in the education part, but also have a component whereby we as Nantucket can show environmental leadership and show a plan that works really well that other municipalities can follow. That is huge for MVP. They love that and they want to use projects as showcases. So that's another thing that I would like to get from this. We've already done a couple of showcase projects here in Nantucket, and other municipalities come to us frequently to see what we've done. So I'd like to continue that. And if we could also have something for the public to use, that's an easy add. I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
Downtown of Somerville, we kind of reviewed a little bit. They've got a really great mapping program where all the trees are photographed from the street level and aerials, and also have what their carbon offset is, and they've got all this information. So that it's really interesting. You start looking at these things, to be able to incorporate that sort of data would be great, I think.
Yeah, I think the town has fertilizer regulations and recommendations, and we've got people mulching around the trunks, which is not good for the tree, and just all of those basic facts about helping to establish trees in the first couple of years, what not to do. It'd be great to have that kind of information incorporated.
Yep, that will be part of the plan. So when it comes to those aspects of the plan and having the public education part, this is where I like to promote the fact that Nantucket is also doing other great things, and we have a new communications office who are very good at putting this kind of information together, making it consumable, making it easy for the average person to understand, and putting it out there. So that's something that I'd like to involve our communications office, Florencia Rulo and Haley Cook with. Their facility, they have all the facilities and capabilities that could assist once it's produced in the document to make it digestible and put it out there.
Yep.
I like it.
Yep, I think we're totally behind this. And, let's move forward. Get
Cross fingers.
Yeah, get the wording to us, get the wording to Charlie, and we'll circulate it, and I'll sign off on it and get it to you by hopefully before the due date.
Perfect. Thank you very kindly, Dave.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vince.
It's nice seeing you.
Good to see you.
Best of luck, everyone. Thank you.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, what do we got? That was all any other comments?
Only thing I can talk about right now is the removal of the Norway maple on.
Oh, yeah. Dover,
On
York Street.
On York Street.
Right.
The big Norway maple in the front of the old Higginbottom house. The Norway maple that was destroyed by the construction That was done when they redid the foundation on that place.
That was the tree we didn't want to lose.
Right.
Yes,
Well, we're losing it.
it's,
Well, it took a beating in some of these recent storms.
no, that has nothing to do with it.
Well, it just, there's a lot of dead wood on the ground now.
It's in bad shape
Yeah.
due to
Yeah.
severe root cut.
Yeah.
And
She's dying to do a new driveway there too.
yeah, but the fight is over now. I mean, I was willing to keep that tree there, but well, Dave, liability asset, it is a liability to the public. So it's not a matter of, does it have to come down, is when I can get in and to get it down.
There's a major stem going over the road.
There's a-
So,
So, and have they said anything about being able to plant replacements, and those would be town trees as well?
yeah, I mean, once I replace it, it'll be a town tree, and what she's trying to get all them involuntary maple claim as town trees. Because they should be in the town right away. That, I don't wanna open that can of
Right,
worms.
if we didn't plant them and we're not maintaining them.
Yeah.
we're not town trees.
It's just, we've maintained this particular
Yeah.
tree over the years. But I don't wanna get into, because they within town right away, you can just give them to me,
Yeah.
and that way you don't have to pay to have somebody take care of them.
And she, yeah, just seeing how she operates, she's not a fan of trees. She removed all her trees on her place on Gardner. And the Higginbotham property, back in the day, it had beautiful hostas and gardens and everything.
Well,
It's scorched earth. It's just what little lawn will grow there now.
yeah.
But the fences all come down. I don't know how they let that go.
I mean,
Anyway.
so that's one thing on the table. And I'm in the process right now of replacing the cherry tree down in Wisconsin, at the triangle.
Okay. They're working on that project now, right?
It's done, it's
It's
just a
done.
matter of me tagging the cherry trees, because it was cherry trees or crepe myrtle that I was willing to plant in there, because now you got a good sight view.
Yeah.
So crepe myrtle would have worked, but the white just wasn't my favorite choice, and we'll go back with the cherry trees.
Well, I wouldn't plant a crepe myrtle. I wouldn't,
You know,
I mean, it's a southern tree. I mean, of course,
We're getting.
sort of
some
growing
all the
southern
time.
trees now, but it's still in its northern limit.
no, it was just, I've seen some 30 feet or some 30 footers around.
Oh, I know, I know.
So, but anyway, I decided to go back with the cherry tree.
Sure.
I'm going out the crags, I'm gonna take the money from our thing there.
Yep.
And, I mean, they probably 2.5 inch.
Yep.
But, you know, they established, they've been there for a while, there's no new ones coming in, so I'd rather have something that's already Nantucket hardy in a
Sure.
sense.
Yep.
To put in that triangle with that north wind coming across.
Yep.
So, they gonna go and look at it, give me the okay on my placement, and then we're just gonna get that done. Alright.
Now, how about any other tree planting for the spring?
I got a list, I gave him a list the other day, he just came to me, brought it back, he want me to give him types.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give him types, give it back to him, and then we can just go ahead and just set up a crew, and we can go and try to get, hopefully get 20 trees in the ground this year.
And how is the stuff grinding coming along? Is that started yet?
That's open right now to, it's out to bid right now.
Okay, it still isn't, it still is out a bit.
Still out to bid.
But is that gonna get done this spring?
I'm hoping, I don't know, I mean,
I'd like, I think we'd like to get those locations.
Yeah, every place I got signed off on, don't need to be stopped.
Okay.
So,
Good.
there's some other stuff, I mean, I don't know if that lady on Pleasant Street willing to let us put a tree back in her yard, right across from Joe's Barber Shop. Well, I took that elm down,
Oh, you did take the elm
I
down.
took that elm. down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you remember you stopped and looked at it? Across from Joe's Barber Shop on Pleasant.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
Um,
I'm thinking the other
Yeah.
elm that's near there, that has been contested, the one that's leaning.
yeah.
The Chinese elm.
Yeah.
Scared me on that one.
No, I didn't take that down. No. It's not even leaning.
Yeah.
The stem is crooked, but the
Yeah.
tree is straight
Oh,
up.
I know.
I pruned it. I mean,
Yeah.
the stem is twisted.
Yeah.
But it's nowhere near a house.
Sure.
And the trivet that's growing in her gutter has nothing to do with that tree. So that is, But that's what I have on my table right now.
And getting back to the Higginbotham house,
Yeah.
I mean, do we have a plan for doing some replacements?
Well, I mean, we'll get there once, because her big thing is that driveway. That's
How
all
much
she's talking
more
about, that driveway. She's talking about redoing that driveway.
Yeah, but we, as far as somebody who lives in the neighborhood, that's gonna be a big loss when that tree comes down.
Well, it's weird,
Despite-
looking at that tree now, it's already lost.
Yeah, I looked at it too. I mean, there's so much deadwood up in that.
Oh, yeah, no,
It's already
I
lost.
get it, but
Yeah.
I'd like to get a game plan rolling for doing at least one replacement.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Well, I mean,
It's very little room to replace anything
No,
right where that
it's a
tree
tough
is.
spot, and
It's-
depending on
we'll
what the
figure it out.
stump
I
is
mean,
all about.
I'd be willing to, I don't know, we'll work on it. We'll get it figured
I
out.
just hate to see that come down and nothing go back in for a couple of years.
Well, but if they're gonna redo the driveway, we gotta wait until they finish that project because they would
Sure.
disrupt the.
Well, God only knows when they get around to that, because it's just, it's taken forever.
Yeah.
Because
Working
the-
the project.
Part of that too is the sycamore maples that are beyond that going towards the corner are in really lousy condition.
Yeah, so I mean.
It would be nice to plant something behind the fence.
That would be nice. I mean, let me negotiate with her and see,
Yeah.
and I'll pass that information on.
Yeah.
I'll pass that information on. I mean, it would be my choice of trees, but we can't go too far because you got that big elm shade and everything.
Yeah,
So we gotta be careful when we plant it in.
true.
That big elm will shade everything in that
Yeah.
corner.
Right, that's true.
So,
Yeah, I'd like to see, several trees. go
well,
in.
and we still gotta think about the elm. So if we plant trees and the elm got everything shaded.
We need some nice understory trees.
We gotta find something understood that'll do us some good.
Just something to fill in to, help the streetscape, because once this goes in, there's gonna be a big hole there.
So,
But that's a pretty protected spot, so to do something like a crepe myrtle.
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
better there.
yeah.
yeah, so I mean, I talk with her, let her talk to them and.
Yeah, that's a different zone
Yeah.
in that whole area.
So we'll figure it out. I'm on board with doing that.
Good.
So,
But Dale, I got a gift for you here.
one falling off.
This is the tree in front of the boarding house, and I found that tag in the dirt.
Boarding
The tree
house.
on Federal Street.
Boarding house on Federal. How did it come off?
Well, it doesn't say it's a tree tag.
It's a tree tag, I
Yeah,
put it in
assumed it is, but
Put it in.
So-
It's been there for a while. I mean, it's pretty rusty. I mean,
But all he goes, you got your tag making machine.
I keep putting it down.
Wow, this is how we're gonna do
That's what I'm proposing. Not out of wood. They're, the metal blanks that I was gonna test one are stuck in the
Okay,
UPS truck.
Show Judy the, I don't know if Judy.
Can I see
You're gonna
those,
get
Dan?
really close.
And so we can decide what exactly we want on them. I did two with the QR codes there. One leads to,
it. American Elm Public Safety, American Elm,
Thank you.
almost American, yes.
I just stuck that on there, so we, so we could put
So
on different
where
varieties.
would we place the,
Here's how we should, here's how we should,
I wish we had 1,000 American elms.
No, so the numbers we kind of just randomly generated, the easiest thing for me on my end would be able to just say, all right, I'm gonna give you 50 tags for American elms, give me a list of what we need, 50 for lindens or whatever else. So as we get them will be the easiest thing. And then if we want to do the QR codes, one of those QR codes leads to the town GIS map with the tree layer on it.
Wow, that's fancy.
The other one I have
I like
on there
that one.
leads to the town tree bylaws.
that's sure.
Nice.
So
that's from Smith College. That's how they affix them.
Yeah,
And that's bulletproof. I mean, you need tools to take.
Oh,
it
I
off.
see what happened, the nail
That's it.
rusted and.
They have a mount and then they attach the tag to the
Yeah.
mount.
It's involved, but I think it would,
yeah, the metal ones, my thought was we could drill a single hole and then use a stainless steel screw
you could do that too.
to attach in. We'll just need to
Like the
decide on
fittings in a men's room with the hardware.
as the committee what we want on there. If we
Yeah,
just want the town seal, if we want to have the QR codes get a little busy, so this small one here.
Something like this would,
Yes,
So that smaller QR code leads to the town tree bylaws on the town page, and this larger one links to the GIS map.
Did you do them, Charlie?
What's that?
You did it with your machine?
Yeah. The more information we try to pack into a QR code, the more dense those little dots get. So I don't know exactly how, that's why that one is bigger.
Yeah.
I kind of like the town code
Yeah.
one, so that way if it's on your property, you can scan it and it'll take you right to the tree. You know, the codes, which hopefully once we get through with legal counsel, we'll now have updated. This is what it'll cost you if you cut this tree down, sort of a thing.
You've done some research on it.
Yeah, so, you know, or if we wanted to do, that's actually an old town seal on the other one. I couldn't find a good updated one to turn into a.
I like the idea of the QR codes, because I mean, that's what people will do. If they see a code there, they'll scan it to see what's, on the other side.
You know, and so, and again, I like the idea that it taking you to the tree bylaws.
Yeah.
This is a little bit redundant because by having the tag on it, you know it's a town tree, you don't really need to look at the
If
GIS.
you're standing right there, you
Right.
don't need.
So that's why I think, you know,
Yeah.
if we wanted to do the link to the code,
Yeah.
it's, you know, it's very easy. Instead of like this, you could, you know, this was zoomed into like 16 Broad Street. And so everywhere you zoom in on that GIS map, you can get really specific, but it changes what that code is, where this would just be a blanket,
That's a good point, yeah.
you know,
One
code.
code,
Easier on my end,
yeah,
easier to print because I can use the same QR code instead of having to make an individual one. For each
yeah, and if the
individual
tag ever
tag.
gets put on the wrong tree, then we've done it.
And hopefully just by doing, you know, just a number of elms, then, you know, Dale can have them when he pulls up, just, you know, Scotty, grab an elm tag
Yeah.
and stick it up there, you know, or grab a cherry or whatever else, you know, we have. So I'll just do the list of, you know, what we have.
Okay.
I can start once the blind metal
I
blankets
can
come
start
in.
working on that next week too.
And then once we go around,
I start from 0 Main and work my way down. On the elms. Go from
Hey,
there.
Charlie. You're doing some awesome work, man. Thank you.
yeah, so hopefully once we get them tagged, and then any new trees that go up, my thought was to make a spreadsheet for you. You can just jot down the address.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the reasons that Will, when he did the tree tags, did downtown Wisconsin and the airport, is because they're all relatively easy. Whereas once you kind of get out, all the knowledge is really in Dale's.
Yeah.
Dale's head.
I was out of work during that time, and I guided him through that process.
Yeah.
Of what was Town Trees, King Street, and all that.
Yeah. So as we go,
At one
as,
time, all you had to do was give me an address, I can tell you what the tree was.
Yeah.
Now, fade.
but for any new ones that go up, we can.
you need a QR code right there.
Yeah.
I'm fade.
Need a brain interface.
I used to be able to just by address to tell you what tree it was and where, you know what I mean?
But at least, you know, on any of
It's
the
not
new
a
ones
fade now,
that go
man.
up that aren't currently tagged, would be good to have the
Okay.
address, at least that way, you know, Will
Okay.
knows when it starts. Hopefully he should be back on island permanently, I think within a month.
Oh, good. He found housing?
He's found housing,
Nice.
which is the big thing. So once he's back, he's been given permission to help us out with this, and I know he's
Right.
jumping to go, so.
That's great.
All right, so Vince will be in contact with you.
As far as other locations, I know we lost those 2 elms in the Silver Street parking lot
I
there.
can't do nothing until that is complete.
Yeah.
I'm putting
No, I understand
I'm gonna
that,
put
but-
3 trees there.
Yeah, good. Now, I assume those guys will wrap it up before, the summer starts.
Well, no,
No, it's another year. The whole sewer project.
they gotta go down Silver Street, I mean,
Well, they haven't even got.
they haven't even gotten there yet, so I don't wanna.
Are they gonna wrap it up for the summer?
They gonna wrap it up for the summer.
Yeah.
But I don't wanna plant trees and they're gonna have
Yeah.
to dig it all up again.
Yeah, they'll be using the parking lot again.
They're gonna use that parking lot again.
Well, okay, I thought they were gonna move on and.
Nope, they're using that parking lot again.
It's a good location, you know, they use Jetty's Beach, you know, all winter, the parking lot
Yeah.
there, so
No,
instead of having to continuously go all the way back to the sewer plant.
no, they're doing a great job. They're good guys and they do what they can to keep the roads open as best they can, so.
And Dale indicates that they've done very little.
Very little.
Yeah, I saw that on the, last minutes, last month. That's great. That's surprising. Because I mean, in the past, we've had a lot of root
We're
rash.
gonna run into a problem. On Atlantic Avenue, that one big elm, the roots are all above the ground like this. Don't know how we're gonna work around it.
Well, haven't they gotten past that already?
No, but they gotta do the sidewalk.
Oh,
So I talked to David, I saw him on the street. He said they're not gonna finish the reconstruction until next year.
Yeah, but we gotta come up with a
Yeah.
plan on how we're gonna deal with that root system.
Well, that's what I
This
told
is
him, you
what-
know, we wanted to go talk to the homeowners and get their permission for an easement to route the sidewalk around the tree.
Yeah.
Onto the private property.
Yeah.
Because we can't put a sidewalk where the tree is.
because that would have to be a legal I think that would be involved, you know, I got thinking that if somebody's gonna give the town permission to do that, it's gonna have to be a deeded thing.
Well, that's, I
It's
mean,
like-
that's what I was advised by the planning department, just get the homeowner to sign an easement. So you don't have to do a taking, you don't have to get ownership. But the homeowner, just like you would for a utility or for sewer crossing, says, you know, we give permission for the town to use this portion.
Yeah, but that
It's
one
already
area
been
is
done
pretty.
anyway.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, essentially, it's almost like adverse possession.
Right, well, and now
Yes.
what it does is
Yeah.
it allows and requires the town to maintain the sidewalk instead of having a situation where nobody's responsible and nobody's doing anything. So,
Now, who owns the house? Do you know?
I don't know who owned this particular, Mr. Payne, the old man used to, Lindsay house, it's not Lindsay's house, that house is still falling down, it's the new up
Now,
there.
this is the one right there on Five Corners.
No, it's up,
No,
it's
it's-
going towards the high school.
It's going toward the high
On the
school.
left-hand side.
The one right on Five Corners is, you know, the roots are way up.
Yeah.
Right there at the top of York Street on the left.
Yeah, well,
That one's okay, I mean,
that,
that's
they
safe.
can work around that,
Yeah.
we can work around that, you know, they're just.
But that does have essentially a site that somebody planted daffodils, did you see that?
Yeah,
Great.
That will be here before we know it, huh?
Yeah.
it's
Next
next
week.
weekend,
it is-
Arbor Day is next weekend.
Supposed to get some better weather.
Oh, tree giveaway, so
Yes.
give us the update. I saw the ad in the paper.
Arbor Day is next weekend.
What kind of trees?
Lilacs, shagbark, hickory,
Here's some places, and ginkgos, don't forget the ginkgos.
I think there's
Favorite tree.
ginkgos on that.
That's what you said. Yeah. You gotta do something.
And Jim Cook is coming in with some stuff. Everything was so limited this year, everything was limited this year.
And did you say river birch on there? You did river birch?
I think, so, yeah,
I
something
got it here somewhere.
was in the minutes.
Oh, yeah, here it is. Ginkgo, river birch, and lilacs.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
no shed bush.
No.
No shadbush. That's a beautiful ginkgo on Gay Street.
Yeah.
Man.
Planted that one.
Is that a town tree?
I hope so. It should be. That's a Beinecke tree.
It's a town tree.
That was when, senior moment, she worked for, in the office, she owned, that was that guest house at the time.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful ginkgo, man. The biggest one I know of.
Regina Burke.
Okay.
Oh, you remember Regina?
No, I don't remember.
Anyway,
There's another one on Schulich's project there on York Street, isn't
yeah,
there?
yeah, that got saved. That
Yeah.
seems to be okay. The catalpa's another, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
once-
Haven't stretched yet because of the rain. Wait till the stretch hit.
Yeah.
We'll see what it does.
All right, well, I guess we're good. We got a motion for dismissal.
Yeah, second.
Okay. Favor, see you next time. I'll be in touch with the,
So
in touch with the
Yeah, what I
letter.
get from Vince, we'll
Yep.
circulate out.
You
Yeah,
guys-
just to remind everybody, you can send it out, but we cannot have an email conversation.
Yeah, you can email, if you have questions or comments, just email directly back to me.
Hey, guys, I'd like to say I thank all you guys for working with me and having the patience to deal with me. Thank you.
And I apologize for my
So,
poor attendance. I've had a lot of technical issues. And I really need to get on top of these Zoom meetings. It's just,
Yep, well, here we are.
Here today.
yeah.
Okay, good. See you next time.
all right,
Thanks,
guys,
guys.
take
See you,
care.
buddy.
And